that we should eliminate all voter registration laws. Now, that might not sound realistic to you, but I promise you eliminate all voter registration laws. Now, that might not sound realistic to you, but I promise you.
What? Stop this madness.
All right, everybody, as guaranteed, my word is bond. We are going to jump into day 2 of the Cracklin Cacklin Crows of the View. So, you guys, this is the same episode where the Views felt the need to defend the honor of our governor. They were offended for our West Virginia Governor Pat Morrisey, and they felt the need to put RFK Jr. in his place. So we're going to the second half of the segment. I skipped the part with the movie stuff in it because I really wasn't interested in all of that. So if you guys want me to go through it, I will. Just let me know in the comment section. So we're going to skip to the part where they are interviewing Mr. Elie Mystal.
Wait, that's happening now? West Virginia Wire, Regina reacts.
And if you all are unfamiliar with this gentleman, he believes that all voter laws should be abolished, that we should not have them in place. And I will let him explain it himself. But Sunny Hosting did pose the question of the Immigration and Nationality Act. So I took the liberty of checking in with Grok just to get Grok to kind of define that for us. So if you'll look up on the screen right here, basically the Immigration and Nationality Act, INA, is a comprehensive piece of legislation in the United States that governs immigration and citizenship policies. It was originally enacted on June 27, 1952 as Public Law 82-414 and has been amended multiple times since then. The INA is codified under Title 8 of the United States Code 8 USC. So basically, the INA establishes the legal framework for 1, immigration. It defines the categories of immigrants, sets quotas and preferences for entry, outlines visa processes, and specifies grounds for inadmissibility or deportation. Number 2, nationality. 2, it governs how individuals acquire U.S. citizenship, i.e. through birth or naturalization, and the conditions under which citizenship can be lost. And yes, it can be lost. Number 3, border control and enforcement. It provides authority for immigration enforcement, including detention and removal of, and that reads undocumented immigrants. That's illegal as well. And 4th, refugees and asylum. It includes provisions for admitting refugees and granting asylum to those fleeing persecution. Key historical moments tied to the INA include the 1965 amendments via the Hart-Celler Act, which abolished the national origins quota system and prioritized family reunification and skilled immigrants, significantly shaping modern U.S. immigration patterns. And one thing I read on Wikipedia said that the limit was supposed to be 120,000 immigrants allowed legally into the United States of America annually. All right, let's keep going. The INA remains the backbone of U.S. immigration law, though it's often supplemented by other legislation, executive actions, and regulations. Would you like me to dive deeper? No, I think we're good, Grok. I think we get the crux of it. All right, guys, so this is what we're going to dive into. We're going to jump in.
Welcome back. Battles over immigration and voting rights laws are some of the hottest topics in America right now. And today, best-selling author and justice correspondent for The Nation, Elie Mystal.
I can't wait for y'all to hear this joker. And let's experience, pronounce his name.
Why they all made the list.
I'm going to try to be quiet, y'all.
Bad law, 10 popular laws that are ruining America. Welcome back, Elie Mystal. Given there's so much to pick from, what?
Yeah.
What was it about these 10 that solidified it for you?
Yeah, so I set out to start to kind of try to write Project 2029, right? When Republicans come into office, they come in with a sledgehammer, right? They come in smashing things that I hold dear. When Democrats come into office, they come in with like super glue and tape. And so they try to put things back together. So I thought about
So forgive me if I'm misunderstanding, but aren't Democrats the ones that are out burning up Teslas and tearing up cities? I'm not sure. All right, let's keep going.
writing 10 constitutional amendments that'd be super cool if we had. I was like, no. We need to smash the things that they like. We need to smash the things that are holding this country back. And so I came.
And see, they tell on themselves. They consistently tell on themselves. They're not speaking parably. They're not speaking metaphorically. They're not speaking in analogies. They are dead serious. They are literally taking hammers, sledgehammers, whatever they can. And they want to take our guns away. Not happening. Let's keep going.
Came up with 10 laws that we could just be rid of, not reform, not update for the modern era. 10 things that we can smash if we ever are allowed to get power again that would make this country better tomorrow.
So let me just say, anyone who's a part of the Democratic Party, if you don't want stuff smashed up, I think now would be the time to try to talk some people off of the ledge. Is this the party you signed up for? A lot of people are saying that it's not.
I love this book. You are dead on, and it is a fantastic book. One of the laws you write about is playing out right now, the Immigration and Nationality Act.
Because before the 1965 Voting Rights Act, we were functionally an apartheid country. Not everybody who lived here could vote here. So why should I give about some law that some old white man passed in the 1920s, like the Immigration and Nationality Act, when they passed our fundamental.
And why is it always necessary to throw the white part in there? Like, hey, white people up, a white lady on the panel, Sarah, why don't you step up and say something? Like, I'm not understanding. You know, maybe they were white and all of that. Yet if somebody were to say, well, some black person did this, or they referred to MLK Jr. like that with such disrespect, what would be said about them? I'm not sure. So I'm not really sure what he's saying here. I don't think he knows either.
Immigration law. Congress said in real time that they needed the law to prevent the, quote, mongrelization of the white race by the inferior races. Now I look at that law and I say, I don't think that's so good. I don't think we should still be using it, but we are still using it today. That is the authority that Trump is using to criminalize.
And you notice that he never specifically states which law he's talking about. You see how they do that? It's all general. Oh, that law. And they sound convincing. Well, he's an author. He's got a degree. He must know what he's talking about. You guys, please. I keep telling people, you know, with the Bible, it starts with the Bible. Don't let somebody else read your Bible for you. And it goes with anything else. You know, if you're interested in it, do your research, but don't get mad about it if you don't really know what we're talking about, right? And let me keep this to me. I like to make I statements. All right, let's keep going, you guys.
People and to pull people's visa cards. Marco Rubio, that comes from the 1956 update to the 1921 Act. Now, I personally do not think that I can convince people to open their hearts and minds to immigration. I understand that in our failing country, treating people with respect and decency.
So that's not the issue, you guys. The issue is getting gangs like MS-13, Tren de Aragua, out of our country. We have a wonderful country called El Salvador, who is very willing to work with us to get these Venezuelan gangs out of our country. These criminals, they are criminals. If you are here illegally and you don't have documentation, you are a criminal. Point blank.
And humanity is a controversial position. And I cannot change their minds. But we can dang sure make sure that we're not putting people in jail for the crime of existing.
Right.
That we're not putting people in jail for the crime of not filling out the form in AAA.
Show me where that's happening. And they never give direct quotes.
In the right time and submitting it to the right agent. Criminal immigration status offenses should not be criminal offenses. They should be civil offenses. We shouldn't be ripping people away from their families because they didn't fill out the paperwork.
Right.
What they're not understanding, though, is so when you come into this country and you're here as a guest, whether it's on a visa, whatever, there may be a due process for that. If you are completely undocumented, illegally, did not come through the proper ports of entry, you have no rights. If you are not a citizen, you don't have the same rights as citizens. And other countries operate the same way. To my knowledge, most do.
So you got it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep interrupting.
That's not something that I think either of us expect is going to happen in the next decade. So what do you see as sort of the marginal changes that are actually really tangible and realistic that could be put in place in the next few years?
I argue that we should eliminate all voter registration laws. Now, that might not sound realistic to you, but I promise you that it is.
And realistic that could be put in place in the next few years.
I argue that we should eliminate all voter registration laws. Now, that might not sound realistic to you, but I promise you that it is, because we are
things to do. That's not something that I think either of us expect is going to happen in the next decade. So what do you see as sort of the marginal changes that are actually really tangible and realistic that could be put in place in the next few years?
I argue that we should eliminate all voter registration laws. Now, that might not sound realistic to you, but I promise you that it is, because we already have voter eligibility requirements, right?
Do you believe
an
that
eligibility
promise?
requirement would be like an age limit, right?
Mhm.
18 to vote, I might say you should be 16, but I'm not going to say 8. I've got an 8-year-old who does knock, but I've got an 8-year-old.
First of all, what does knock mean? I didn't catch that reference. If y'all caught it, let me know in the comment section. And my second thing would be, well, what's to stop your 8-year-old from walking up there and saying, hey, I'm going to vote? There are no laws against it. If you are pro abolition of all voter registration laws and any type of that, I'm not sure what you're saying. And if you're saying that everybody must automatically register to vote when they apply for a driver's license, if they're not interested in it, they're just not interested in it. You shouldn't force them to be interested. I thought this was free will. It's a free country. See, they tell on themselves.
Right? We don't want them voting. But once you meet the eligibility requirement, why can't you automatically be registered to vote? Having the second step of voter registration.
You do have that option if you want to register to vote. But if you're at the driver's license office and you don't want to register, that is your free will American choice to do. God given. We are a sovereign nation.
Registration needlessly suppresses the vote for no real benefit. Some people might say, like, oh, it prevents voter fraud. First of all, no, it doesn't. Second of all, voter fraud doesn't exist. Right? If I say I want to go fishing somewhere, you say you can't go fishing there. I say, why? Because the Loch Ness monster might get you.
I want y'all to remember that they said voter fraud does not exist. I mean, what were they saying when they said that Trump was an illegitimate president? I'm not sure.
That's shut up. That's not a good reason to have a law. Right? Let's get rid of that, right? So I think
y'all like
if
that
we
reasoning.
open up
Shut
the
up.
aperture to voting to more people, to get some of those 90 million people who stayed home on the couch, to get them to have easier access to the ballot. I think some of these larger changes that I talk in the book.
But they don't want that on that side. They don't want that.
It's funny. You know what they do want, though?
Yeah.
They want voter ID.
Yeah.
They're all hot for
Yes,
voter
please.
ID
Yes,
as
we
the
are.
thing that
Yeah.
is going to
Yes,
like
we are.
secure the election.
Very
So I
hot
say,
for it.
if voter ID is so important to you, if you think that that's what it takes to secure an election,
Mhm.
let's make a trade.
Can I ask one follow-up?
You get
Good luck.
you get voter ID, and I get mandatory automatic registration.
So here we go. Mandatory automatic registration. You guys, they could not be more clear about telling on themselves. Mandatory automatic registration. You don't have to vote if you don't want to. Why is that a law? And then that's another step for them to really double down, triple down on the implementation of harder taxation. The tariffs will work. This will work. Let's let this fool finish what he's saying. Forgive me for saying that, y'all. I'm so sorry. But let's suffer through the rest of it. They're almost done, thank God.
Who says no? And I promise you, it's the Republicans that say no because they don't want more people voting.
That's
It's
right.
not about security.
But you see how they do. They're like, oh, because you won't agree. It's not an if, or it's not a you do this and you do that type of thing. No, that's not what it's about. And that's completely unreasonable.
We don't want more people voting.
What?
Oh, I was just going to say, so some countries automatically at a certain age register you to vote. Would you be in support of just universal, you turn 18 and a register?
That's what he's talking about, dummy. That's exactly what he's talking about. Yes, there are countries that do that. There are places, DMVs, that offer it in the United States. It is optional. It is optional. Now, we do have a draft in place where, when you 18-year-old males, they go get their driver's license, they automatically have to register to be drafted.
Not just some countries, most countries that are not us either have automatic registration, mandatory registration, where you pay a fine if you're not registered, or same-day registration. Pick one. There are lots of democracies out there. Pick one. We do it the dumbest way.
Your blood pressure.
All because he's the smartest one in the room. Okay.
Always high.
So
He's fighting for
are we
the
having
world.
him
Yeah, I
back
know.
tomorrow? What's happening with this? Is he coming back tomorrow?
Cory Booker needs to come back tomorrow because he's the one who's
Look at that.
He's
Look
busy
at that
right now.
guy.
He's busy right now.
You see that guy? He's all like, I don't know. I'm not the big dog. I'm not sure if he's coming. Look at this guy's face when she asked that. What?
It's hot.
So
He's fighting for the
are we
world.
having him
Yeah, I
back
know.
tomorrow? What's happening with this? Is he coming
What?
back tomorrow?
Cory Booker needs to come back tomorrow because he's the
He's
one.
like, yeah.
He's busy right now.
Right? He's the one
He's
fighting.
busy right now.
We're
He's
trying to
still
get
talking. But
down.
our thanks to Elie Mystal. His book, Bad Law, 10 Popular Laws That Are Ruining America, is out now. You can shop his book by scanning the QR code on the screen. And you know what? You're such a good
All right, guys, I thought I would spare you the suffering of the free book giveaway. They did give everyone in the audience a copy of that book. I wonder how many people are actually going to read it. All right, you guys, that's all I've got for today. You guys, I thank you for tuning in. If you liked what you heard and you stayed up to this point, we hope we've earned your subscription. For those of you that are returning, hopefully you got the biz out of the way before the video even started. We thank you. We highly encourage you to leave any and all feedback, even if you don't agree with us. Let's talk about it. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure we can find common ground somewhere. All right, guys, thanks for watching. My name again, Regina Connell, and we will see you on the flip flop. Peace.
Rise and shine. It's a brand new day. Got the world on my mind. Ain't no time to play. Chasing dreams, running fast, feeling no delay. We're the watchdogs, always watching what they say. Eyes wide open, we're taking what's ours. Breaking through the silence, aiming for the stars.